There's no one to change but self, honestly. You're changing how you feel about yourself. You're changing how you view your universe. You're changing how you view the people in your life. And then they show up based on your assumption of them. You're not really changing them. They're just now able to show up in their best version that you assume them to be. So I always tell people, you have to change self first. I wrote a book called 30 Days to Master Self-Love. It's an ebook. It's flying off the shelves right now, the metaphorical shelf. And it's changing lives because I walk you step by step every day how to transform your self-concept. It's always about your self-concept. My issues were not about him. They were about me. So when I changed myself and I healed my assumptions in my past, my beliefs, it was like there was freedom for him to come back as his best self.
Welcome everyone to Learn, Speak, Teach, powered by Balbert Marketing, LLC. If you love to learn, be inspired, and succeed, we're here to speak and teach. I'm your host, Ben Albert. I believe if you're not living, you're dying. If you're not growing, you're withering. And if you're not engaged, you can turn this off right now. Because we here at LST are lifelong learners. And listen, I'm not your guru. I'm an ordinary guy on a journey to learn from the experts. My goal is to host each conversation with a beginner's mindset. Learn and let the experts speak and teach their truths. Join us! Oh yeah, and don't forget to subscribe. This episode is brought to you completely free. Get some stake in the game here. My fee for the show only takes a few moments. If you gain value from the episode, personally share with a friend and explain your favorite part. Bonus points. Please leave us a review on Apple, Google Podcasts, or anywhere you listen to the show. All right, let's get started. I am here with Candace Charee. Candace, how are you today?
As my grandpa says, I'm perfect, but getting better.
Perfect, but getting... I love that.
Isn't it cute?
I like to say I'm good enough now and only getting better. That's one of my personal affirmations. And so you're perfect, but getting better.
Yeah.
I'm really excited because this is going to be a tremendously interesting conversation because you are the owner, the founder. You are Effortlessly Manifesting. Now, effortless. I can go and kind of give you people the bio, but really I want to hear it from you because I know you're a podcast host. I know you have a virtual training software you're putting up so people can ultimately have you with them 24/7. You do one-on-one coaching. But what are you teaching exactly at Effortlessly Manifesting? How does that work?
So I teach people how to heal from past pain, trauma, limiting beliefs, so that they can manifest the life of their dreams. At the core, that's what I do. I teach the law of assumption. It's different than the law of attraction. Almost everyone has heard of the law of attraction, thanks to The Secret. But for me, the law of attraction is still limiting you. It still says that if the universe wants to bring it to you, if it's in your highest or if it's the best thing for you, you'll get it. There's a lot of ifs. And there's a lot of, if you think this, it's going to come to you. All your thoughts create. A lot of times that's what is taught. However, the law of assumption is all of your thoughts that you persist in that turn into an assumption are what harden into fact. Your whole life is made up of an assumption. Basically, your beliefs that were created within you as a child, those have now become hardened assumptions and facts. So I teach people how to change their assumptions, revise their past beliefs and their past traumas so that they can then reassume their life to live the best possible reality that they would like. It's putting all of the control back on you. No more are you a victim of your circumstance. No more can you say, well, this is just happening to me. This guy sucks. That's never going to work out for me. When you understand you are consciously creating your reality, it puts so much power at your fingertips to create the life that you deserve and that you desire. because nobody is telling you, well, maybe you'll get it. Maybe the universe thinks you're worthy of it, or that this is best for you. No, you create it. You're co-creating with the universe, with God. So you have the power right there, right here in your imagination.
So I want to get into implementation, but first dissect this a little bit. So
Okay.
Assuming this isn't just me with my eyes closed thinking that I'm in sunshine, even though it's 20-degree weather, this is actually creating that sunshine in my, like, how do I use assumption, and what is the goals, or how should I be utilizing assumption? I can't just imagine I'm in sunshine if I'm in snow, right? How exactly do I utilize the law of assumption?
So it sort of is a little bit like that. At first, it's going to be a lot of imagination. The imagination is the truth. Imagination is limitless. If I told you, close your eyes and pretend you're on the moon, you could do that. That's instant manifestation. However, this 3D reality that we see is subject to time and space. Our imagination is limitless. Literally, we can imagine whatever we want. When we imagine over and over, and we couple that with our feelings, then things will create for us. Now, let's say you start imagining you're in sunshine and rainbows and you're in 20-degree weather. Well, you constantly are imagining that a circumstance will come into your life that maybe is in the form of a free trip, or somebody saying, hey, let's go to Hawaii tomorrow, and I'm paying for it. Something will come into your life to create that for you. It's not always, I'm warm, it's amazing, it's hot. And then, you walk outside and it's warm and it's hot. It's not really like that. But some kind of circumstance will come into your life. I call that a bridge of incidents, where that bridge will take you from point A to point B of your end result. If your end desire is rainbows and sunshine, heat, beaches, whatever, something will happen for you to get you there. We don't know the what. We don't control the middle per se. We don't control the circumstance, but we do control the end. And the end is, I want to be on a beach somewhere. I want to be warm. I don't want to be cold and freezing right now. So you persist in this belief that I'm here. You fall asleep in your imagination, feeling warm, feeling like I'm on the beach. I can smell the ocean. I can feel the sand on my feet. This is amazing. I'm so thankful that I'm here. And something comes into your reality to make it happen. If you persist in that, let's say you do it one time and you forget about it, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's fully implanted. Sometimes you need to persist until the subconscious accepts it. And when the subconscious accepts this as, this is a belief, I'm on the beach, some sort of circumstance will come into your life to create that.
The key word to me here is persist. So you can try it once, but you need to persist at it. And for anyone listening at home, it seems like everyone, we're going to want and deserve different things, and we'll probably utilize something like the law of assumption in different ways. So I do want to invite everyone to be open-minded and learn from this, and learn from Candace, as I am, because tell your story, because I always learn through stories just as much. And sorry, I'm losing my voice today, guys.
That's okay.
I learn from stories just as much as tactics and tips, So I want to hear your story. Where did you learn this stuff? Did you have this aha moment where you started utilizing the law of assumption? Take us through that timeline, and don't feel like you need to give us the short. I really want to hear exactly what Candace went through, that tipping point moment, and a little bit about how you feel today and how life is today.
Yeah, thank you for asking. So I learned about the law of attraction when I was around 15. My mom had this book called Being Happy from Andrew Matthews. And it was so interesting to me that how the universe worked. That was the law of attraction. That was my limiting belief of what I understood about the law of attraction, was initially from this book. But that inspired me to go on a journey of self-help. I read so many self-help books, so many books about how to make money, Think and Grow Rich, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And then I stumbled upon You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. And I learned more about resolving traumas and pain and things like that. I had always wanted to be a musician, a singer, songwriter. When I was 25, I got back into recording music and touring around the country. And from there, I got into film and television, creating television projects and film, and entertainment was in my blood. I loved it. And for me, having my own platform for music was a way for me to express creatively who I am and what I wanted to say. However, my dreams only took me so far. The law of attraction only took me so far. I didn't understand how to create past what this like ceiling was of my creative process. And I think 2016, I was in a relationship that was not going anywhere for a very long time. Got out of that relationship, got remarried right away. Was also one of those moments where you say, what were you thinking? But it also, it was all meant to be. Like, I'm not complaining about it. But then I got into an abusive relationship and had 2 children with this person and completely lost myself. I lost my whole identity. I lost all of my friends. I was so lonely. I remember posting on Facebook, asking people if someone would just come over and be with me, please. I need somebody. And a lot of comments, but nobody really came through for me. And it was the hardest time in my life. I had a 5-month-old or a 2-week-old baby at the time that I was posting this. I was so lonely. And I realized I can't continue living this way. This is not going to get me where I need to be in life. And I didn't know anything about the law of assumption at this time. I just knew I needed out. I knew I needed freedom from what was happening to me, because I was always a very strong, independent person. So seeing myself turn from that to this shell of who I was frightening. Right. And I didn't want my children to grow up seeing this version of me. And so I eventually left my ex at 5 months. My baby was 5 months old. I left him and moved in with my mom, had no money, no job, no career, didn't even have my car. He had my car. I had to borrow my mom's truck to get my kids around for a while. And he got the house, he got the business that I helped create, and I got all of the debt. And I said, wow, I get to start from scratch. I had been a homeowner since I was 18 years old, always had money, always took care of myself until this event happened and lost all of it. And I had to recreate my whole identity again and heal. So soon after, go ahead.
One question there.
Sure.
I'm wondering, do you feel like you were assuming that into your life? Like, this is such a
100%.
disaster scenario. How did that occur?
Yes. It was an unconscious belief that I had. I had other previous traumas in my childhood and limiting beliefs that allowed me to create them in this relationship. And looking back at the relationship, I see what I did to change my environment, because people act a certain way based on how you perceive them, how you assume them. And I started to assume the worst about him. And as I started assuming it, it got worse and worse and worse until it was unbearable. So, but I didn't understand the law of assumption. I knew the law of attraction, but I didn't understand the taking responsibility for your reality that the law of assumption provides for you. So yes, I created all of it unconsciously. You know, I don't blame myself though. I forgive myself. I've forgiven him and understood that he was playing a role in my life. He was playing a part of ultimately what I needed to get me to where I am right now. I would not have effortless manifesting if it were not for that relationship. So about, I don't know, like 8 months after I left him, I met my now husband, and we started off kind of as friends. It didn't really like go anywhere right away. He was off dating other people, making his own wrong choices. I was still trying to find what I needed. Then I found the law of assumption. A friend of mine introduced me to Neville Goddard, who is basically the father of this. Let me get his book and I'll show you so your viewers can see. This is what I recommend. I know it's backwards, but this is the complete reader. Mm-hmm. So it's very big because it's 10 books in one. And he has more books than this, but these are his 10 most notable books. And then he has a bunch of lectures. So I've listened to about 300 hours of his content. And when I learned about the law of assumption, I felt like I was breathing for the first time, because I said, this is what I've been missing in my life. This is what I've needed the whole time, to understand that I do create it. I can change this. I can go back in time using revision. Revision is something he teaches where you change the past, and I can change my past. So I started practicing it. And then I created a whole method of reprogramming the mind based off of revision. And now that's what I do for others, help them heal based on revising your story, revising your old concept. So as I started to learn this and heal my own life, I knew I need to get this out. I need to share. Mm-hmm. I'd always been the friend that people came to and said, hey, I need this advice. I need that advice. My stepdad's been a PhD marriage and family therapist for 40 years. So I'm very familiar with coaching and therapy and things like that. And I always felt this pull to help others in one way or another. I get so much gratification from seeing somebody benefit from information I provide at some form or another. So I met a woman who had her own group around kind of these teachings. We became friends. I was like, you need to do this as a business. I'm a businesswoman. I know how to help you. I've run several businesses in my life. And so we started to work together. But then our philosophies were kind of like doing this. And so I said, this isn't really going to work for me. I'm going to go and do something different and take the business in a different route. And that's what I did. And I created Effortless Manifesting. She has her thing still, and started this business in April of 2020 by myself at the height of COVID, mm-hmm. and did not for a second allow that to stop me. I said, people need this. I'm going to start one day at a time, and I'm going to build this from the ground up and become an authority in my industry by providing as much value and as much free content as I can. And that's what I did. And that's how this company was born, by just showing up every day and saying, I've got a message that people need. And I knew they needed it. And that's why people come to me, because they say, okay, she's got something I need. She explains Neville, who's hard to understand. He's very hard to understand. He speaks kind of like in an old English kind of way. And I break it down for modern time for all of us here to understand in more of a relevant way. But in my own relationship with George, we broke up several times because I was still dealing with my old beliefs that I hadn't fully healed. I hadn't fully recovered from my old assumptions that I had about relationships, about men, how they're supposed to be, all of these things. So after I fully healed these assumptions and healed the circumstances that we had between us that were preventing us from having the life that we wanted, then he was able to come back to me, and we were able to be together finally and get married, and we have a beautiful life together. And that's what a lot of people come to me for, is how to manifest your ideal relationship with a person. If you know them or not, it doesn't even have to be someone that you're trying to create back in your life. It could be somebody brand new that you want to just create, a soulmate or something like that. So 85% of my clients come to me to heal their past beliefs and trauma so that they can have no more limiting beliefs around relationships, and they can finally have this love that they've been seeking for so long. And people come to me for business as well. I do business coaching as well for people who need to get past that threshold that's been holding them back, and it's all encompassing. Your assumptions really create everything in your life. So I help people transform your full life. It's not just one thing. It's it's really is a full life transformation to get from point A to point B. You want to transform who you are now into your ideal so that your ideal life can then be attracted to you.
A full life transformation. I love this. I mean, I can relate to you in the fact that I'm a music addict. I love music. I love that you came from the industry.
Yeah.
And I started my business in August of 2020.
Okay.
Ultimately, after getting furloughed in April of 2020 and being in a place personally where I wasn't really going anywhere. I had reached a level and then I had just plateaued. And then nowadays, through ultimately some of this personal work, and I'll tell you, Candace, and I don't want to say it on the air right now, I already know exactly where this business is going to be in about 12 months to 2 years.
Yeah.
I have a rebrand that I'm going through, and no one really knows about it, and I shouldn't talk about it because I want to do it now because it's already here for me now.
Yeah.
Like it's already existing in my mind, and I just know there's some steps here to get there.
Right.
Explain situations like that, like when using the law of assumption. Do you already live that person in the future now? Like, how do I do that? How have you implemented that? Am I on base or am I kind of in the wrong direction here? You tell me.
No, I would say you're on track. You know, if your business goals, let's just say your business goal is $1 million a year in your business, okay? And you've mapped out what that looks like for you. You want to have more time freedom. You want to have a number one most successful podcast. You want to have whatever it is for you. You've mapped out what is your ideal, and you have it on paper or on your whiteboard or whatever. You see it. I want this, 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 this. This is my end. At the end of my dream, it needs to look like this. And then you have these circumstances that come into your life, different people, different opportunities. You never know what will pop into your life. You don't ever know who's going to message you on Instagram. You never know. That will take you to that next step. Now, if you're saying, I want to announce my brand to the world now, ask yourself, what would it be like if I announced this right now? How would I feel doing that? And if the answer is, I don't feel like it's totally ready yet, I love it, but I feel like there's still a couple more things I want to do, then don't do it yet. But if it's like, yes, I feel like my audience will receive it, I feel like they're going to love it, they're going to run with it, and it's going to help get me to the next level, then you make your decision. So I came up with a technique called I have a meditation on it about your ideal reality meditation, where you ask these questions. What would my life look like if I had $1 million business? What would my life look like if I had the love of my life right now? What would it be like if I could run 10 miles a day? And then you ask these questions, and your imagination will put in your face all of the answers, and it will help you flesh out what you need to do. And as it's creating this thought of, well, my life would look like this, I would be able to do this, and I would be able to do this. Great. Then you feel it. What would that feel like for you? That would feel amazing. I would feel relief. I would feel peace. I would feel joy. I would feel accomplished. Great. Those are the feelings that you need to feel now as you visualize that ideal reality for yourself. And then you allow the circumstances to take you from those next steps, the bridge of incidents along the way to get you what you want. Did that answer your question? Hopefully, I don't know.
I always have multiple follow-up questions, but I want to know how does someone listen to this meditation? How does someone learn some of these things online maybe?
So I have 19 guided meditations for sale on my website, effortlessmanifesting.com. So they're all on sale right now. If anybody watching this wants to get one, you can use the code LOVE and save $10 as well. So there's a little free coupon for you.
Perfect. Yeah, I'll put that in the show notes as always, guys.
Okay.
And this could be just a limiting belief of my own, but it's so hard for me to have 100% certainty. I'm thinking about what if I made this announcement? What if I did this now? What if I know for a fact it would go over well? But I have this uncertainty that it's not the right time. Do you find that that's common, that you know that it'll be perceived and you know that you could, but you feel like the stew hasn't been brewing long enough?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a fear. Thing? Yeah, there's a fear that probably something that happened to you in childhood that said, I can't trust my decisions. It's not easy for me to trust sorry, my camera was moving because I have a blanket on.
Nice and comfy.
It's like shaking my camera. But there's probably something that happened to you that made it difficult for you to trust making decisions. That's what I find for most people that struggle with just pulling the trigger. It could even be your birth order. You could be a middle child. It's hard for you to just make the decision. But you got to find out, what is the root of this fear? Where does it come from? And as you find the root, then you can go back and you can revise the root. You can change it. You can reprogram that root to say, actually, I've always been able to trust my decisions. I've always been able to trust my choices, and I make the best choices. And even before you do that, understanding that every choice you make is always leading you to the next best thing. Doesn't matter what it is. Never matters. When you make a decision, you need to assume it's always working out for me. It's always working out in my highest good, because there's never really the best time. I don't think the best time is when you decide, I'm doing this and I have the support and I'm the bomb and it's going to be great, and you fight through that fear of being vulnerable, because it is a vulnerability to put your art out and to be creative and show the world, this is me, this is who I am. Ooh, I don't know. Do you like it? I don't know, but that comes from a self-concept place of, I know I'm enough. I know no matter what I put out, my audience will love it. And if not, a new audience will come to me. If you build it, they will come. Same concept. Your tribe will find you. There's something for everyone. Everybody has a preference, and there's never nothing that you could put out that somebody wouldn't at least like.
So I understand, and I agree. I am enough. You build it, they will come. Mm-hmm. The one sticking point is the revision of the past concept.
Yeah.
If the past is like a specific an event that happened, how do I revise that? Am I reprogramming my brain? Am I just perceiving it differently, but acknowledging the truth? Like, that's the one place I'm thinking the listener might be too. They're like, well, how do I revise my past? It's in the past.
No, that's a great question. And I have a whole video on this in my free training academy that's longer, that goes into more detail, but I'll give you as much as I can right now. So what I do for people, and another thing that you need to do is to study revision from Neville Goddard. So you can YouTube it, Revision Technique by Neville Goddard, and that'll teach you more as well. But my best recommendation is to go under meditation. Now, you can use my meditations or you can use something else, but you want to get into your subconscious state, not your conscious mind. Your subconscious mind is a program. It's like Microsoft Word. It just does what it's told. That's it. Your conscious mind is creative and smart and knows yes from no and right from wrong and good from bad. Your unconscious mind, subconscious, doesn't know crap. It just knows what you tell it. It really doesn't.
Program, yeah. Exactly.
It's just a program. So that's why you reprogram it to implant a new story, a new idea. So as you're in meditation, this is how a session with me goes. So people know, I want to work with her, but what does it look like? Okay. I put you under meditation, listening to one of my guided meditations. I have one specifically for reprogramming. The guided part is 8 minutes. So you're getting into your subconscious state. You're in a hypnotic state where your body and your mind is malleable. It's ready for suggestion. Okay. After the 8 minutes of the talking is done, it's 22 minutes of just the frequencies, the bells, the tones, like all of that. That's after that point, the client will say, okay, I'm ready. Then I will take you back in time to a memory. Let's say your dad abandoned you and now you have abandonment issues and your relationships suck because of it and you never feel good enough and whatever. So we go back, we're going to revise dad. Okay. So we go to a memory of you and dad, where dad left, where dad was abusive, or dad something. we take you back. You witness this as a child. You watch your younger self experience it for 30 seconds. I will not have you longer than that in the memory. And as you're watching your younger self experience it, you're observing. After 30 seconds, I tell you, now go take your younger self, pick them up or hug them, tell them, I love you. You're safe. This is just a bad dream. We're going to go somewhere new and amazing. From there, I take you out of the scene and implant a whole series of events around you and your younger self. And then towards the end of the reprogramming, I will bring the parent back in, or the person who we're reprogramming back into the situation, and allow you to have an exchange with them, conversation with them, tell them everything you need to say, get it off your chest, all the things that they did to hurt you or that you felt limited by, whatever. And then you hear from your parent all the things you need to hear to trust and believe that they actually did love you. They actually were there for you. They actually are still there for you, regardless if they're alive or not. You tell them this, that you have them tell you these things. And then the brain, after you do this exchange, the brain says, wow, I don't feel this pain anymore, because trauma is stored in your memories. And as you shift the memory, the trauma releases. And then you have a new concept of your parent. And then the parent can present in a positive way if they're still alive. And all of those old beliefs you had about them are just, they feel kind of like a dream. Everyone says after we're done, they're like, yeah, it just feels like I don't resonate with that story anymore. It doesn't feel real for me anymore. It feels like
it's not
a
part
dream.
of the program.
Exactly. So from there, the relief that washes over people is so beautiful. The amount of people that are crying tears of joy is just so many. And, you know, I've had clients come to me that have been in therapy for 20, 30 years, done every treatment you can imagine, every EMDR, everything, and have one session with me and have said, I cannot believe how I feel right now. I cannot believe that I feel love for a person that I have not been able to feel love for so long. And I had one client, we worked with her on her dad. She hadn't spoken to him in 12 years. They had a rocky relationship. We did a reprogramming on him because she knew it was holding her back in her current relationship. And because, you know, women, if you're in a traditional relationship, we experience the relationship with the man based on how we feel about our fathers. So we revised her dad. She felt amazing about it. She messaged me a couple of weeks later and said, after 12 years, my dad reached out to me to try to rekindle our relationship.
Wow.
And I was like blown away. And this was probably last year, about a year ago, I think. And since then, I've had a lot more stories like that. But that was so profound because our assumptions block people from showing up the way that you ultimately want them to show up. And your own assumptions about yourself block you from showing up how you want to show up, your ideal version of yourself. So as you change these beliefs and you revise them and reprogram them, it creates space in your body, in your mind, in your spirit for the best possible outcomes.
I love this. I was going to ask you about success stories because people love seeing the success stories, but I do invite people to be open-minded to try some of this themselves because obviously there's no better success story than a personal experience. To segue, you had mentioned, you know, how your intentions and assumptions can affect those around you. And this is a no-brainer. I shouldn't have to give this disclaimer, but people shouldn't utilize anything like this for wrongdoing or bad or anything ungodly or manipulative. But how can we use assumption to affect those in our lives? I mean, the simple example that comes to mind that I learned is that if you don't want someone to cheat on you, you don't say, don't cheat on me.
Right.
You say, I know you're honest and authentic and you never would even consider being with someone else. And I appreciate you for that. So instead of saying, don't cheat on me, you say, I know you're not a cheater. You don't even say that. You just say, I know you're an honest person that's going to be there for me. I learned that. And I think that's a small way to set an assumption or an intention. Any bigger ways or anything to expand on that thought?
Yes. So, and that's brilliant. That's exactly what you want to do. You don't want to say, like, don't fall, don't trip, because the brain only hears fall, trip.
Fall.
It doesn't hear the don't. It doesn't hear the don't. So you want to focus on the positive aspect of it. Be safe, love yourself, whatever. And assuming that people are always going to be faithful and loyal to you in every relationship. But how you want to do that is you can recreate people. You can recreate them from the ground up. I actually created a method of this. This is exclusive to me. And I have a meditation where I help people walk you through the process of recreating someone from the feet all the way to the mind, where you knock them down piece by piece and then you rebuild them. You implant new feet, new legs, new core, new arms, new heart, new throat, what they're saying, ears, eyes, and brain. So your assumption now is shifting and changing. You're creating a whole new version of what you see about the people in your life. And in my marriage, like, I'll be very candid. I've been very candid about our struggles and the things that we've struggled with before getting married. And I've got a bunch of videos about this on TikTok, and people are freaking out because they're loving to see the other side, the other perspective, the manifested person talk about it. But we had very large circumstances between us. He had his own childhood trauma that prevented him from feeling like he could ever be a dad, ever be a father, and especially a stepfather. And my little boys triggered him. They triggered his wounds that caused him to want to run from them and feel like, I don't know how to do this. I can't do this. So the last time that we broke up, he said, I'm never going to want to be a stepdad. I can't do it. I don't feel like I'm capable of doing it. And I said, okay, I'm going to fix this. I'm not going to accept this as my truth. And we broke up for 3 months. And we hadn't seen each other during that whole time. We talked off and on, and I kept reaching out. I kept trying to force the connection still, because I was afraid he was going to leave and be gone and move on without me. And that was my own limiting belief at the time. And finally, after 2 months of leaving things on his door and trying to help him know he's loved and whatever, he was like, I just can't. I'm trying to move on. I'm trying to get over you. I can't get over you if you're still in my life. And I said, you know what? You're right. I need to step back. I need to do this up here, not manipulating my 3D reality. I have to change it in my mind. So I said, take care. I love you. Whatever. I knew it wasn't done. And for 24 days, I lived in my imagination. Like a crazy person, I would talk to him when I woke up. I would hold his hand for pretend in the car. I would journal our ideal life together as if it already happened. I imagined it. I saw my wedding day. I imagined him, me, the kids having the best life together. I recreated all of this in my head because I was holding an assumption that he couldn't be there for me. I had an assumption that the man I love is not fully there for me because of my childhood. So as I healed all of these beliefs and fully lived in my imagination, 24 days later, he reached out to me and he was like, I can't be without you. And I'm like, I know, because we're meant to be together. Like, this is it. Like, it was just the circumstance that I had created based on my assumption was holding us back. So he came back to me ready to be a stepdad, loving the boys the way he felt like he could in a healthy way, and completely transformed something that he said will never happen. So I always tell people, don't take no for an answer. Reimagine it, recreate it, create a space open for them to come to you and your desires to come to you in the healthiest way possible. And so that's really what I teach people now is like, remove all of these things and remove your assumptions and recreate your ideal reality and the people in them so that they have room to come back in your life the way that you want them to.
In the healthiest way possible.
Yes.
I like that because so many people want to force, they want to tug, they want to push.
Yes.
A lot of the, leaving gifts at the door, that's kind of aggressive, isn't it?
It is. It's manipulation.
Is it manipulation to give space knowing that they might come back?
No, because you want to give space and allow for you to transform how you're seeing them. It's always about self. It's not about them. It's about you. What are you doing that is preventing your relationship to be what it's supposed to be? Which at our core, we're all love. Everybody's core is love. But when you put condemnation on others and say, you're this, you're that, you're not enough, you're a liar, you're this, whatever, they have to show up that way because that's the condemnation that you're putting on them. So here's another explanation of the law of assumption. Mm-hmm. You can put somebody in a room that 10 people know. All 10 of these people know this person. And you say, who is this person? Describe who they are. You're going to get 10 different responses, most likely, because each person shows up for them differently based on their assumption of them. Someone might say, I hate that guy. Another person's like, what? That's the nicest person in the world. What are you talking about? That's the law of assumption.
This is interesting stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty mind-blowing. The first time I learned about it, I was like, what? It's crazy to think about it, but it's where the true freedom lies, because you no longer can blame your environment. You can't blame your circumstances anymore. They're there. Your triggers are there to teach you, and that's it. They're there to teach you, to remind you. A trigger is like a check engine light. It says, hey, check this. I got something going on. I need to heal this. And you can clear the code and move on, and it's going to come back. Or you can go and change what the thing is saying to change, and it stops. So I welcome triggers. When they happen, I'm like, oh, I didn't realize that was still going on. I got to change that.
What I resonate with is it seems like the true freedom starts internal. It's beyond the triggers. And one thing I've found this with tips and tricks, and obviously the word tricks is just ridiculous, but tips and tricks and tactics is, if you're not doing the inner work, let's say, you go through a breakup and they come back, but you're worse than the person that you were when the breakup occurred. Mm-hmm. Are they going to come back? Or are they going to turn around and go the other way? It seems like we can't just game our way into things. We do need to look inward first, or else none of the tricks or tips or tactics like, oh, just, ghost them for 3 weeks and they'll come back. That doesn't work if you're not working on yourself, does it?
100% it does not. There's no one to change but self, honestly. You're changing how you feel about yourself. You're changing how you view your universe. You're changing how you view the people in your life. And then they show up based on your assumption of them. You're not really changing them. They're just now able to show up in their best version that you assume them to be. So I always tell people, you have to change self first. I wrote a book called 30 Days to Master Self-Love. It's an ebook. It's flying off the shelves right now, the metaphorical shelf. And it's changing lives because I walk you step by step every day how to transform your self-concept. It's always about your self-concept. My issues were not about him. They were about me. So when I changed myself and I healed my assumptions in my past, my beliefs, it was like there was freedom for him to come back as his best self and I created a space for him instead of blocking him by saying he's this or he's that, So yeah, it's always about you. It's never about them. And if you're trying to do all the techniques to manifest somebody or manifest something, but you're still having all these limiting beliefs about yourself, you're never going to get anywhere. It's why the law of attraction limits you. It's why I always felt limited by the law of attraction, because it didn't ever take me to that next step of, oh, wait, I'm actually creating all of this that I see, everything, and I can change it. And knowing that allows me to not be a victim to my circumstances anymore. And when I was unconscious, I was a victim. Of course, I was unconscious. I didn't know. But now I can't claim that anymore. I can't say I'm a victim to my circumstance because I'm aware. I know the truth. So I have to behave differently.
You have to. I mean, I can change it. That's such an empowering way to see the things that come into your lives and the things you attract into your lives and assume into your lives.
Yeah.
I want to be mindful of your time. I could do this 3, 5, 10 hours.
I know.
I want to go to the rapid fire round where we just ask short, sweet, either or fill in the blank questions.
Okay.
Just to get to know you personally a little bit better.
I like it.
I like to start with coffee or tea.
Tea.
Mornings or evenings?
Morning.
Do you have a favorite season of the year?
Christmas, fall, winter.
Since you're a music gal, think of an emotion, whether it's pumped up, sad, or anything. What songs come to mind that, like a great pump up song when you're going to an important event, or an emotional song when you're looking to heal? Does anything come to mind for you?
I'm Bringing Sexy Back by Justin Timberlake. And there's a song by Carrie Underwood. What is it called? It's a song with Ludacris, and it's about being, I am invincible, unstoppable. What is it? How does it go?
It's ringing.
I forget the name of it.
Everyone at home thinks we're an idiot right now. It's ringing a bell. Were you a singer? Were you a producer? What did you do
a singer-songwriter, and then in the film industry, writer producer.
Love it. Yeah, I could hear you had a voice for the singing. We'll do one more. This doesn't have to be short and sweet, but what are you assuming into your life for the future? Are there any goals, any things that are ultimately you're manifesting them now? Ultimately, what should we look forward to in the future?
Yes, absolutely. So I have a vision of touring the country to start with my husband, where I've already named called the IAM tour, where we open the show with a concert. He's a musician. He's a guitar player. I'm a musician. We sing, we write music together. We're opening the show with amazing, like mind-blowing music, and then doing live transformations, live reprogrammings, teaching similar to Tony Robbins, and traveling the country, performing, educating, transforming lives. That's what's in my mind. I'm already planning it. I already know it's done. It's happening. And just, allowing the circumstances to come to my life. But that's my ultimate goal for myself, is more public speaking and transformational workshops, I guess you could say.
If someone wants to stay in touch, whether it's self-guided versus one-on-one coaching versus ultimately being there when the female Tony Robbins makes her first I Am appearance. How do people keep in touch? Tell us again, the website, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok. Mm-hmm. I mean, I can put it in the show notes, but what should be the taking off point?
Sure. So effortlessmanifesting.com has all of that. It has my products, my coaching, links to some of my social media. It doesn't allow me to link to TikTok for some reason, but for my Instagram is Effortless Manifesting. And then I had to put LLC because someone had my name. And there are a couple copycats right now that randomly 2 people are making fake accounts with my name. So mine has like around 9,000 followers. So everyone else, don't follow them. You'll know the difference. But TikTok, just Effortless Manifesting. Facebook, I have 2 groups. I have a free group, same name, Effortless Manifesting. And then I have a VIP group where I teach more group coaching. It's a lot more content, a lot more videos. It's amazing. That's my VIP group. You can get access to that. All of this is on my website, though.
Perfect. And what was the name of the author again?
Neville Goddard.
Neville Goddard. And so he's also a great taking off point too, if we want to learn a little bit on
everyone needs to study him as well and learn the core foundations of what he's teaching. And then you can come to me as well to kind of break it down easier for you to understand.
And you said that earlier, you take these complicated concepts that Neville teaches and you simplify it. It's the 2020s. We don't need language that sounds like it's 100 years old.
Yes.
You simplified it for me, so I appreciate that, Candace.
Awesome. Of course.
Thanks again for coming on the show. I had a lot of fun.
Thank you for having me. This is amazing.
Thanks again for listening to Learn, Speak, Teach, powered by Balbert Marketing, LLC. You need to go subscribe if you haven't yet. This show is completely free. If you gain value from the episode, personally share with a friend and explain your favorite part. Leave us a review on Apple, Google Podcasts, or anywhere you listen to the show. All right. Thanks once more for listening to LST. I am so grateful. Talk to you soon.